While it might seem that almost everyone out there is buying an SUV, there is still a market for sedans. And when you talk about sedans, the Honda City has been the king of this segment for a long time. Well, it has been around longer than any other model on sale right now and has been the car that established the sedan segment in the country. But now the City just a few months back got some updates, and with these updates, Honda is aiming to improve the value for money quotient on this car. So does it achieve that? And is the City still a car that you should look for if you're out there buying a sedan when you have competition from the Koreans as well as the Europeans? Now this car has been in our long-term fleet for over 3 months, and this is the top-end petrol with a CVT transmission. Now since it's a long-term review, I'll not go ahead detailing the design entirely, but the new bits in this car include this carbon fiber finished patterns that you get in the lower part of the bumper. This gives the car a bit more sportiness. Of course, there's also a different kind of a mesh pattern in the grille. The alloy wheels are again new in terms of design. 16-inch for the top variant. You get a lip spoiler at the back, but that's about it. So there's not a radical change in terms of design, but yeah, I mean small bits that make the City look a little bit better. Alright, now let's talk about the cabin. And well, the cabin is one place in the City that you will really love. I mean, like I said earlier, we've had it for over 3 months, and the car is so nice in terms of comfort. I mean, look at the cabin quality overall. The dashboard material, even the soft touch material given here, the entire layout, it looks so plush. Again, it's a very nicely done, clean dashboard. Of course, you have this nice looking touch screen here. I wouldn't say it's the best unit in the segment. There are units that do a better job, but yes, this still does the work fine. Now it also gets Apple CarPlay and Android Auto wireless connectivity. Earlier it was wired. You also have this wireless charger here, which is plugged by a cable. You can remove it, and if you remove it, you have these cup holders, or if you want to have the wireless charger, you can have that instead of the cup holders. You also get this new frameless mirror here. Again, just adds a bit of a premium flair to the cabin. But beyond that, I think the City hasn't changed much, and that's perfectly fine because the car already has a very nice cabin. And even when you look at the instrument cluster, again, it's got a lot of information, very clearly visible. The steering wheel itself is quite nice. You get all kind of controls on it, including the button for ADAS function, which we will talk about in some time. But if I talk about the seats are brilliant. I think these are one of the best seats in the segment. In terms of space, you've got a lot of space up front. The door pockets, even those can hold your big water bottles. There are a lot of cubby holes around the cabin to add to the practicality. There is good amount of headroom. There is a sunroof, and yeah, I mean, overall from a front perspective, it's a great car to be in. It feels like you are in a nice, comfortable, expensive car, and that's exactly what the City has been all about through its generations. And this one lives up to all the expectations. Now, one area where the City really stands out from its rivals is rear seat comfort and space. Now, this is something that the City has always been great at, and this one again, no change, which means you continue to get great space. Now, I've got the driver's seat adjusted to my driving preference. I'm 5 feet 8 inches for reference, and you can see, well, I've got a lot of knee room to spare. There's a slightly inclined floor, so you keep your feet on it, and it gives you a very comfortable seating posture. The seat itself is quite nice. The cushioning is spot on. You've got good amount of under thigh support. The backrest angle is nice. You've got a cushioned armrest here, very good cushioning by the way here. And yeah, I mean, when you add all of these things together, you get a very comfortable seat to be in. Also, this floor here is not too high, so you can get 3 people occasionally here. You also have two 12-volt power outlets here and rear AC vents. Add all of these things together, and what you get is a car that is brilliant in terms of rear seat comfort. So if you are someone who's looking at a sedan from a family perspective, or to even be chauffeur driven, I don't think there are many cars in this segment that can beat the City, because this is the seat where you want to be in if you're buying a sedan in this price segment. Now, before I go ahead and tell you about our experience with the City over the last 3 months and its pros and cons, well, if you have made it so far in this video, please hit that subscribe button, press that little bell icon, and like and share as well. And now coming on to the most important part, which is the driving bit. And like I've said earlier, it's a long-term car. So over the course of last 3 months plus, we have driven more than 2,000 kilometers. We've covered a distance of more than 2,000 kilometers on this car. And let me tell you what's good and what's not about the City. Now, first of all, let's get the figures out of the way. It's powered by a 1.5 liter naturally aspirated engine, which is a very good thing. In this age of turbocharged engines, you finally still have cars with naturally aspirated setups. And this develops about 120 horsepower, 145 newton meters of torque. And the one that we are driving, the car that we have, is the CVT variant. So it's an automatic, but with a CVT. The City does not have a torque converter in its lineup, so you can either go in for a manual gearbox or you go in for a CVT. Of course, there is a hybrid as well, but this car and this review is all about the CVT petrol automatic. Now, how's it to drive? Well, I mean, enough power, 120 PS, which means it's one of the most powerful cars in this segment. Yes, you cannot compare it to the 1.5 liter TSI powered Virtus and Slavias, but they are also a lot more expensive. In its price range, this is the most powerful car you can buy. And well, some people might question the use of a CVT, but the CVT actually has been engineered so well that it doesn't turn out to be a compromise in terms of performance. Yes, it's not as performance oriented as a torque converter would be, but at the end of the day, it will not make you feel as if the car is not going quick enough. It has a hint of that rubber band effect, but still it's been engineered really well. And in urban traffic, it just works flawlessly. And where it really shines is the fact that it gives you great fuel efficiency. Now, this is something that the City has always been known for: good fuel efficiency. And in this time and age where fuel is so expensive, it really pays to have a fuel efficient car, and the City is. It gives you about easily, it's been giving us 13 plus kilometers to a liter, and this is when we have been driving the car mostly in rush hour traffic in Delhi. So all of you from Delhi would understand a 13 plus fuel efficiency in that kind of traffic is really good. Out on the highways, you can easily expect the car to give 16 plus with passengers and the luggage. So yes, it's a very fuel efficient car. Also, what really is nice about this car is that it's very refined. So like right now, if I'm driving at about 60, and it's just so refined, there's hardly any sound filtering inside the cabin. That's what makes driving the City such a joy. It is refined, it's smooth. At the same time, it has power. It's not something that will pin you back to the seat, but yes, it's this continuous wave of acceleration that you get. So it doesn't come in one punch, but instead it's just constant, and that's the good thing about it. It's just goes with this character of being refined and smooth. Now, in terms of handling and ride quality, well, the City's always been a good performance car, and this one continues to have those genes. Nothing has altered mechanically for this update that we are driving. So it's a great car in terms of stability. Straight line stability is not a problem at all. Panic braking, again, the car doesn't feel nervous. Even around corners, the City doesn't mind go corner hunting. You can really push her at some high speeds through the corner and she'll respond happily. So yeah, I mean, it continues to be a car that is fun to drive. Yes, the CVT might not exactly be your weapon of choice if you are an enthusiast, but in that case you can go in for the manual. But yes, if you want a car that is easy to drive all the day, you can get your family members in, you can be chauffeur driven in, you want it to be efficient, smooth, hassle free, I think the CVT makes a great case for itself. Now coming to the main inclusion in this car, which is the ADAS. Now the ADAS, the sensing technology that Honda calls it, was introduced in the hybrid city first. Now it has come in the regular city as well with this update that we are driving. And when it works well, it gives you access to a variety of functions. It's something that gives you that extra net of safety. And more and more cars are coming with ADAS, so it's a good thing to have. Just one of those days, one of those split seconds when you might not be attentive, well, the ADAS can come in quite handy and prevent an accident from happening, or at least minimize the damage. So it's a good safety feature to have. Talking of safety, the City continues to be one of the safest cars in its segment. You get 6 airbags, you get ABS, EBD, all of those things are there. And when you add all of that, you get a car that is pretty much like a cocoon. You feel safe inside it. There's a feel-good factor in this car. It feels nice to be in. It feels good to drive. It is light on the pocket when you look at the running expenses, and it's also not very expensive to maintain. So when you add all of these things, you get a car that is very, very good to live with. So these are all the good things. And trust me, over these 3 months, well, this car has really kept us very happy in terms of comfort and its overall ability to manage everything, right from bumper to bumper traffic to the high-speed expressway, bad roads. And that is one really great improvement in this new city. It was done in 2020 only. Ability to handle bad roads. The ground clearance is up now. So unlike the older city, which used to bottom out on a lot of speed breakers, this one you don't really have to worry about. You can just take on roads anyway. Nowadays in our country, we don't have that many bad roads. It's an image that was associated with the older India, but I travel all around the country. Roads are pretty nice. So those occasional bad patches that you get, the city can easily handle it now. So that was all that's great about the city. Now, what could have been better? Well, to start with, if I come back to the cabin, I think in terms of features, maybe it could have had things such as the ventilated seats, at least in places like up north or in Delhi, where it really gets hot in the summer. Ventilated seats come in quite handy. It's a feature that is no longer reserved for the luxury class, because more and more people, more and more buyers are getting access to it, and it's becoming pretty much a norm nowadays. So yeah, it would have been good to have that. Maybe having an option as an enthusiast, I would have wanted the city to have the option of maybe a torque converter or something, because I have to drive in rush hour traffic on a daily basis. I can't live with a manual, and I want a car that is great to drive. Now the city has good power, it's got excellent dynamics, it is a safe car to drive. The only slight thing that holds it back from being a true enthusiast car is the CVT gearbox. So if there was an option to have a torque converter, wow, I think this would be the car that I would just go ahead and buy. But still, it's a great car to be with. 3 months, no complaints at all. Let me tell you, no rattles. Now, let me tell you what has happened over the last 3 months. The proper Honda quality. No rattles, no squeaks. Still, when we go over any pothole or any surface undulation, no sound from the suspension. Everything, the plastic quality, the fitment quality is top notch. So nothing rattles or vibrates even when you're going over really bad road, or even those cat's eyes on highways. It's just such a nicely, solidly built car. So that gives you a very reassuring feel about the car, its ability to survive the test of time. And that is something that not all cars in this segment do. Not every car ages well. But this is a car that will end up aging well, because that's where the Honda quality matters. And it's been great to drive in that respect. Fuel efficiency, like I said, it delivers good fuel efficiency. It's very comfortable to drive. One thing I want to highlight about this car is the headlamps. The headlamps have got very good illumination, so when you're driving out in the night or in dark places, the headlamp just is one of the best in its segment. So that again is something that really adds to the driver convenience as well as the safety. Another thing I want to highlight from our long-term review is that I once used this car for a long drive. It was about 6 hours. I took it from here to a little further ahead of Jaipur, and it's a very comfortable car to be in. You know, I mean, like I said earlier, the seats, the driving position, the ergonomics, everything is just spot on. Your visibility is good, and it's just, you know, that environment inside the cabin of the city. It's so pleasant. It's so soothing because of the refinement. It's a car you just don't feel tired in. It just pampers you, and that's what I love about the city. You know, it's just this car that has stood the test of time for years, for decades, and generation after generation. In between, yes, there were a bit of oddities, things that not everyone appreciated, including me. But I think with this generation, the city got back a lot of nice things. And with this update, now the city is offering you a lot more value for money. Now, if you look at the prices, you can see it on your screen right now. For this price, I think the city offers great value for money. For this kind of, with this update, you're just paying an upgrade of a premium of about, say, 30 to 40,000 rupees over the older model. But you're getting really good features, you know, nice improvement to the design, to the cabin, ADAS, the extra additional safety net of ADAS, and add all of this, and what you get is a car that continues to be one of the best looking sedans in its segment. It is still one of the roomiest and spacious sedans. It is definitely one of the most fuel efficient cars, and it continues to be a joy to drive. And if all of these things are what you're looking for, I think the city still continues to make a very strong case for itself.